Hi guys, it's Lonnie again. I'd like to do something slightly different today. When I first found out I had anxiety, I went through a series of different states and emotions, and I don't know, but at one point I was sitting in a 12 by 12 shed in August with the windows and doors shut, no air conditioning, in a pair of short pants, sitting in front of the computer, drinking beer and crying. That's pretty much the state I was in. I was just completely lost. And as I've mentioned before, I'm not a Bible thumper. I consider myself to be a spiritual person. And my definition of the difference between spirituality and religion is that religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell. Spirituality is for people who've been there. And that's why I consider myself spiritually, because if you live with this disease that we have, you know that it is a hell. But I was on the computer one day and I heard a guy talking. He was preaching. And something struck me. And I developed something from that. It was, I don't know exactly how to word this, but best to just jump into it. Now this is from Psalm 91:13. This is just one little segment. It's one verse, and there's a lot around it, but just one little verse. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample underfoot. Now, it struck me odd because you have a dragon, a lion, and an adder. Now, a lion, sure, lions they're real. I can see them in the Bible. Lions are real. You can see them at the zoo. You can see them on TV. And adders, yeah. I mean, they're a small snake, small venomous snake, extremely poisonous. But there again, you can see them in the zoo. You can see them on TV. They actually exist. But dragons, why dragons in the Bible? They don't exist. You can't see them at the zoo. Why dragons? And the way it was put at the time, and the thing that I've come to realize, at least how it fits into this context, is if you have a problem, say for example you are walking down the street and you see a lion, well now that's a problem. Now that is a real problem. Lions are vicious, they're mean, they're dangerous, they can rip you to shreds. And you've got a problem, and you know you've got a problem, and everyone that sees you knows you have a problem. It's there and obvious. If you were to come across an adder, now you would still have a problem, but the problem would not be as profound, as noticeable as the one if it was a lion there, because the adder could be under the edge of your seat, for instance, or maybe in your shoe, and you would have no way of knowing it was there, but it's still just as dangerous, just as vicious, just as deadly as the lion. But now dragons are a special thing because they don't even exist. When you have a dragon problem, you've got really the most severe of all problems, because a lion has limitations. A lion can scratch you, bite you, obviously kill you, but he cannot take your house or steal your girlfriend. An adder, once again, venomous, bites you, kill you. Death is definitely an option from this, but they can't take your job from you. They have limitations. Both these creatures have limitations, but dragons, and that's when it struck me, that's what at least I deal with. Problems that are so grand, so fatal, so limitless that there's no way to defend against them. They're just the most vicious problem, because a dragon can have wings, it can fly, it can breathe fire, it can do anything that your imagination will allow it to do. So How do you deal with such a vicious, vicious, vicious creature? And there again, that is what we deal with. We deal with dragons. We deal with problems that are so, that obviously some of them are real. Some problems that we have are real, but a lot of them are blown so far out of proportion by the way that our minds work that we just simply cannot deal with them any longer. And that's why we turn to other things to help us through this. But if you notice, the verse goes on to say, the young lion and the adder, or the young lion, the adder and the young lion shalt thou trample underfoot. Now, trample, I looked up the definition of trample. To tread heavily, or tread heavily on something, so, or somebody, so as to cause damage or injury. So what it is saying is we will trample this thing. We will trample it. We will crush it underfoot. And once again, the real meaning of this message, I'm not sure. I wanted to share that this is an idea that I'd had, and it has helped me because when I went to CRC, that's Crisis Recovery Center, this is when I got first help for my anxiety. The girl, when they wanted me to go for 3 to 5 days, and I was terrified, completely, totally, absolutely terrified. There was everything in me, everything said, run, don't do it, get away. Every idea I could think of, everything that came in my head, the bills were behind, everything said, don't go. And I had told this story to one of the workers at Daymart. And as the girl handed me the card, she looked me square in the eyes and said, remember, they're only dragons. And I was able to get through it. I would be in a strange place around strange people with no alcohol and no marijuana to calm this anxiety, just in there, having no idea what was there. I don't know, for you younger viewers, you probably won't know the movie that I'm talking about. It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. For you older guys, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. That's pretty much what I expected when I went down there. People standing in the corner, beating their head against the wall, drooling, but that's not it. The caseworkers were fantastic. The other people there were astounding. They were great people. And it was the best thing that I ever did. And it got me here today where I can sit in this chair and speak even to this degree. But remember, guys, a lot of the things we deal with are blown out of proportion because of the way we think. And we can't control other issues, things outside of us, but we can control the things in us. We need a starting point, but it can be done. And I'm going to talk about some of this more as we go along. As I said, I don't like for these things to run on too long. I think this one may have. But as always, guys, keep the faith. Make a doctor's appointment and go to it. No matter what you have to do, get there, because if you can get some help, it gets better, man. It gets better. It's still a struggle, but we shall trample it underfoot because they're only dragons. Check you guys later.